Hi everyone, it's Mariana. Today I wanted to do a bit of a spotlight on a resource that I use extensively in my classroom, and that is my Language Arts Notebook. Now, inside the Language Arts Notebook, I do have it divided into 3 sections, and today I'm just going to focus on the very first section, my Reader's Notebook. And the Reader's Notebook is a collection of reference pages, many anchor charts or posters that you create with your students throughout the year, and it serves as a practical, engaging resource that the kids use throughout the entire year as they tackle all their language arts learnings. So if they ever forget a skill or a strategy in language arts, specifically with reading, this would be the very first place that the kids would go to look to remember how to do that strategy. Okay? Now, the reason why I use this so extensively in my class is because I made each outcome and each page directly related to the Alberta Program of Studies. So I tell my students often that this is what we're going to be learning about today. So for example, we talk about being a reader. Everybody in this class is a reader, and everybody reads different things. And so we talk about what kinds of things do we like to read? How does reading make me feel? Where do I like to read? All of those things are very important for the students to recognize that maybe they're not as high of a reading level as they want to be, but everyone is still a reader and everybody is going at it at their own pace. So underneath, there is a friendly I can statement written in student-friendly language. And so for example, the first one is, I can read silently with increasing confidence and accuracy. And so the way that I approach that in my classroom is I tell my students that that is the goal that we want to achieve by the end of the year. I want you to be able to read more confidently and more accurately than you did before you came into the classroom. And if you did that, then you achieved your goal. So I love that each topic has a student-friendly I can statement underneath, which is also a little bit easier for the parents to read it when the students take this home, or at the end of the year when they're all finished. The parents can see exactly what was covered and exactly which program of studies outcome was taught. Another reason why it's so important that I've included the I can statements is because the students learn why. They learn why is it important to know what can I read? Or they learn why is it important to know that there are 3 different ways that I could read a book? Or why is it important for me to pick a just right book? And when we go over this, and when you talk about the student-friendly language, there's a glare, there we go. When you talk about the student-friendly language, then it's a lot easier for the kids to understand why. What is the purpose of me learning about this particular topic? So for example, I can apply phonics rules to read unfamiliar words in new texts or new contexts. So kids know that the reason why they're learning about this particular page is so that they can feel a lot more confident in reading unfamiliar words. Instead of being scared and skipping over a word, they're learning about different sort of rules that they can apply to read a book that might have 1 or 2 words that are too difficult for them to read, but using the context clues, they're able to read it. So every page in my Reader's Notebook is a reading strategy or a reading skill that the kids learn to help them become expert readers. And that's kind of how I approach each lesson, is I tell them that this is another tool in their toolbox to help them become an expert reader. This is not the be-all, end-all of your language arts program of studies. I like to use this resource as an introductory activity. So whether I'm introducing the concept on a Monday or a Wednesday or whenever, I use it as an introductory lesson, and then all of my assignments and activities that follow up with that, they all relate back to that introductory lesson that I did. So for example, one lesson can be making connections. This is a very big topic, and this is a theme actually for my entire month of September in reading, and teaching students how they can make connections to what they're reading. And so what we do on the very first day is we will make this page together, and we'll talk about the 3 different types of connections that you can make. And then throughout the month and throughout the year, the students are practicing making connections. But this is at least a starting point for which I know all of my students have a base understanding of what making a connection is. The flow of the Reader's Notebook and the way in which I lined everything up is just the flow in which I personally teach in my classroom. It follows my grade 3 year plan, but it's totally up to you if you want to teach things out of a different order. You can definitely do that to best suit whatever style and whatever lesson you want to teach. You can definitely pull things out of order and teach it however you want. A question that I have seen a little bit is, do I use this resource with my online students? Because I am teaching grade 3 and 4 this year online. And the answer is yes, I do. And so what I do for my lesson online is I will do it exactly how I would do it in class. Is I would go over the title and I would ask the students to write it down in their books. And then I would ask them to write down the sentence, and then we would talk about it, and then if they want to, they can draw a check mark, very basic, and then we can talk about the important sentences that are written down on here. And again, this is just an introductory lesson, so after that, we use this skill in our class throughout the week, throughout the month, to practice this reading skill. So this lesson has definitely been my favorite so far that we've done in our online classroom. We talked about the check for understanding topic, and we covered it in our readers' notebooks. And then the very first day was individual, so I asked them to practice this skill by themselves while they read on Epic. And then the second day I asked them to partner up, or I found a partner for them, and they had to practice the skill with a partner, taking turns reading stories and asking each other these questions. And then the third day, and since then, what we've been doing is they've been partnered up and they have to ask each other these questions, but it has to be based on the roll of a die, and we use a virtual die. And the reason why it's been such a hoot is because for number 6, when you roll a number 6, instead of answering a question, the kids have to do a silly dance on camera. So that has been a very fun lesson that the kids have quite enjoyed while still practicing this check for understanding and online, which is awesome. So this resource is primarily for grade 3, but of course grade 3 and 4, they're very easily relatable, and it's really easy to adapt them. I do plan on creating a specific grade 4 reading resource down the road, but right now this is working out just fine for me, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I do plan on creating notebooks, reading notebooks that are tailored to each grade specifically, so they relate specifically to each of the outcomes in each of the grades. So if that's something that you're interested in for your particular grade, please let me know, because that is something I could focus on first. And again, these are just my reading strategies that I cover in this notebook. The writing strategies I have are in a different notebook, or in a different package, I should say, and they're all available in my TPT store. And you could even get it bundled, where you can get reader's notebook, writer's notebook, and I have grammar as well, which I can talk about in another resource spotlight. Talking about online learning again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I created this resource to be used with my students, and I had every intention of using it in class with my students. But when I got relegated to the online world, I didn't want to just stop using this resource because it's printed. I found a way to use this online, and I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not digitizing everything. The kids don't have to have everything digital. I still think it's important for the kids to have pencil and paper opportunities, and this is a fantastic example of that, because they get to create something that's tangible, and they get to create something that they can reference throughout the year. Whereas on digital, it's a little bit trickier for them to find where they saved it, and yada yada. So this way, they get to have a resource that they have created, and they can have their hands on it and reference it. So I hope that you enjoyed this little sneak peek into my reading notebook resource. I want you to try out that check for understanding lesson. See if that works for you guys. See if the kids like calling their friends on Teams and doing the little dance for number 6 if they get it. I'd love to know how it goes for you guys. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.